Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, let's get this started. Welcome, I'm Steve Holzer with SIMLAB. Today, we will be introducing you to stages. So the world gets to meet stages today. Today's event here is largely a high-level overview. There are many aspects to stages that are quite detailed, and we'll be following up with a lot of those. But for now, let's get engaged because we don't have a whole lot of time, and feel free to drop questions in the chat as we go forth or in the Q&A section. I will try to get to those, especially if they're relative to something that I'm speaking of at the time. I have no problem, stopping and starting and being interrupted, because it's great if you're having questions while we're going forward, so I can explain something a little further. But this will not be a deep dive. It's going to be kind of an overview just to show you all of where to look in the nooks and crannies at some point of our Stages product. So Stages brings a complete access tool to any level of technical expertise of any stakeholder. It's a cross collaboration platform, meaning, trades, owners, anyone involved, contractors, maintenance folks, anyone involved in any facility can utilize the tools, very easily navigate and understand where they are in a facility and deal with notes, information, issues, forgotten items, whatever it may be. And there's a whole suite of tools to do that with. So some of the magic about Stages is that well, number one, it's a completely web-based application, fully supporting tablet, phone, laptops, desktop, any type of device. And at this time, it is fully capable for the Matterport 360 scans in the web version. We have also a desktop version, and I'll be showing that to you as well. Let's get started. Here, this is our simlabinc.com homepage. You can find Stages right here. You can also navigate to sim-stages.com. So without logging in, since I just came to this page, I can show you here. You can scroll down and read a little bit about it, but more importantly, there are a number of tutorials to get started. You can check those out later on YouTube, as well as this is where the standalone apps are able to be downloaded for both Windows and Mac OS, and you can register or log in for the web-based version. The data in both is identical. You're accessing the same content. There's just a different set of tools to use right now in the standalone app. So it's right now the standalone app is, we call it the professional, because it's really where the under the hood work does to synchronize everything together. So one of the magic pieces of Stages is you can view the history of a facility on the timeline. You'll see this in momentarily, but the real magic about this is that as you move through this timeline, you retain your point of view and your location in the facility. So you can easily compare and contrast, not just during the construction process, but even on a scheduled aging for insurance purposes and so forth. Or another use case that many folks are using is for tenant move in, move out situations. So it'll give you a way to look at the same information from the same place at a different point in time of that particular facility. So on SIMLAB Inc., we clicked on Stages. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I'm logging into our demo account that we've set up. In here, we have an area. This is all projects. And these are projects that I have been given, or the demo account has been given permission to edit, view, any type of permission. But anyway, I'm listed, or this login is listed as a collaborator. So you're able to do that with any project as a project author is share. So the initial view is the one you're going to use the most. But I'm going to go show you in just a minute a couple other things. But this is where you would actually choose a project to go work on or check up on, whatever. While we're here, let's look what else we can do here. This just takes us back to the stages page. So we'll go back to projects, organizations. This is a new feature that we've recently implemented, and there are areas in here where you can set up your organization. You can also then set up roles. So in these roles right now, there are three roles. There's the admin, basic, and a viewer. And if you click over here on the ellipsis, you can see what this particular role has permissions to do. So admin's pretty much able to do everything except delete an organization. So you can also see who are members of this organization. Obviously, we don't have any yet in here, but this is our demo. So the roles are able to be seen of what permissions are available for each one. So each user can be assigned a role. You can also actually invite anyone, whether they are currently registered or not, on the SIMLAB Inc. platform for stages. So this will allow someone to then come in and register as a user on our platform. But anyone you can send out the invitation to do that. Under this organization, you can see you can have teams set up. For instance, an electrician, a team of electricians. You can set up templates for various teams to template settings and projects that are belonging to the current organization that we're in. And it's just this one right now, project dashboard. This will take me right to that building and see the user's privileges in this project. So this is really just where we manage all of the granular permission information for users, teams in a given organization, which projects that belong to that organization, that user has what sort of access to. So that pretty much covers organizations. Let's go back to projects. So in projects, you can sort by a number of different ways. You can also just simply search for a project here, or you can add a project here. And realize that the projects are limited on the number you're going to see on a page. So you scroll down if you want to, if there's only one page of these, but if you add, sometimes I added a new project and I didn't see it at first because it was on the next page. So a lot of times you need to be able to do that. So, but I'm getting permissions to many of these properties. So we're not going to go through all those today, but I got a couple of key ones I want to show you. Also, one other aspect about this project list, you can mark favorites. That's always fun, huh? You can see by clicking here, this is the project info. This is how many, there's 8 stages, there's 194 notes, and these are the note statuses. So we have 2 in progress, 101 of them resolved, 25 unresolved, 41 pending, and 25 info. You will be able to see those and what stage they're in once we go into the project, but this just gives you a real high-level view of what's involved in that project. We can edit that project, which really just involves the what the thumbnail view is, and the location, any description, title. So that's the project information complete. So let's go look at today to show you a good example of, this is a hospital project that we have in Japan. And when you first come to the project, the information is, it lists the first stage. And here you are able to see specifically the notes listed. There aren't many in the first stage. We'll go to another. And if there is a Matterport scan, you will be able to see it here. If there's not a Matterport scan, you'll see this particular item, that this particular stage that we're on right now does not contain a component, or it's out of sync. So the standalone app, the desktop app, is how we are able to synchronize, connect all of the various stages together for viewing. So we have two different ways we can see the timeline. One is through the hamburger here. We all love hamburgers. And it's in this case, it's ordered from the oldest at the bottom to the newest at the top. We're also able to view the timeline down here and then click and scroll across those as well. So you can change stages either place. So once I've selected a stage I want to look at, we'll stay here on, let's go to this stage 3, electrical and appliances, and we'll close this. So we can now navigate anywhere we want, just as in any Matterport scan, and view things. We can also then click on the notes, and we're going to see the notes for the stage that's loaded. We've got quite a few notes here. It appears that most of them are information. On this particular case, we'll show you some notes on other ones. In the notes, this is an issue. It's in progress. You could assign a stakeholder. That's anyone that's part of this project. So this is just a high-level description. There can be media added. You can add photos, videos, audio notes, or documents. So as you can see, there's some photos here. This just shows a typical how to place the equipment in the room. So it just shows the bed placed, pretty straightforward. But anyway, any type of videos or photos you want to put there, screenshots, they're able to be added. And then you can actually comment down here as kind of a thread of information, and call out other, involve other people, multiple people can communicate across to get this done. So there's only two types, either issue or information. And this icon is if I want to go to that location in that scan, any of them, I can do that simply by clicking, and it will navigate me to that location. So there's where our information tag is, and it's where that bed is to be placed in this particular hospital. So we've covered the timeline and the two ways of the timeline. We've covered notes. Let's now go to look at notes. Are available, as I said, either you can click on any of these icons when you're just moving around. These are all information icons, as you can see, and it adds different information for different, I think, pieces of equipment in this case. So the phone goes here on this desk. Again, a picture. It's just pretty self-explanatory. There can be a lot done with these notes in terms of adding screenshots, things like that. So, all right, let's go to the desktop version. I will launch the desktop version briefly. Excuse me 1 minute here while I change our. Each time we launch the desktop version, again, it is the data is all based in the cloud, but it does check every time to see if there has been any updates released. And unfortunately, I'm working with two monitors, so give me 1 minute to bring it into the other space. All right. Big monitors are great, but when you work with two monitors and it opens in a big monitor, it takes a minute to get it all resized. So anyway, here we are. You'll notice I have the exact same projects listed that I had in the web version, even in the same order, have the same information to work with here. If we go over to, again, the hamburger on the left, we can set our preferences. And this is the units for your calendar or you know, imperial or metric, whichever system you're working in. Navigation, about changing the axis in the 3D view. Disk cache. So when we're working with the desktop unit, we actually will download models and place them in a cache so that they're quicker loads, because as most of you know, a 3D model is pretty heavy. So this allows it to speed up quite a bit and work locally. But in some cases, you may need to clear the cache if you have outdated information and content. So anyway, we'll cancel that for now. In the desktop version, we are able to have the filters. They're a little more extensive in here right now, by author, by organization. You know, just to, obviously with just one screen full of projects, it's not too difficult or significant to work with. Here we have our hospital, but in this case, I want to go this time. Let's go to one of our colleagues' places, and let's take a look here at the ins and outs in the desktop mode of a SIMLAB. So we're in the manager first. These three areas are areas that show you, or that allow you to do different things. So the manager is where we would actually set up all of the stages. And by the stage having a little arrow there, that's going to indicate that it has notes under it. So I can expand any stage I want. Again, this is exactly the same data that we were seeing in the web version as well, just presented in a little different way, and also you know, a different ability to add the content a little more comprehensive. The main difference is going to be the functionality in the synchronize. And for synchronize, I'm just going to play you a quick video that'll be faster than me trying to do it online here, just for time's sake, because we are going to be running short on time before too long, and I want to get to your questions. So anyway, again, just like before, the notes, I can click and go to any particular note, you know, the location. There was let's go to an issue here on, here we go. We're missing a cable. Let's go see where this is. Now, again, this is really going to be done in the inspector, but it'll take me to it anyway. And notice the timeline is a little different here. We can also see not just the Matterport 360, but we can also see the actual 3D components. Again, here, it's going to take a moment to load this. We'll come back in just a second when it's loaded. Let's go back to the 360 Matterport view. So back to the manager, that takes us to any, you know, I was looking at notes. That's also where we add components. So whatever stage I'm in, which is highlighted here, I can add additional components. Right now, we have one Matterport 360 and one 3D model in this particular stage. We can look at other stages and see if what additional components are involved there. Same thing again, the Matterport 360, as well as a 3D model. It's downloading it fairly quickly here. Okay. We'll let that load for just a second. The synchronize and the inspector, again, the inspector is mainly what someone's going to use in the field for all the notes, the comments, interacting with the collaborative tools. The synchronize is really the magic of the desktop unit. That's currently where you can actually synchronize multiple component types together. So not just in a timeline view, but this 3D model, you could have a BIM model even, Matterport 360 model. All those component types are able to be added and synchronized together. So you can see them in an overlay situation. All of the file types that you could add, we will click here to add a new component. It must still be loading my model. Adding in, maybe I don't have rights to add a new component in here. Anyway, new component types are PDF, Matterport 360 Showcase, which is just strictly a link, FBX, OBJs. The Matter Pack can be brought in as well, which is something that's available for Matterport scans also. But you know, even a blueprint, here in this case, we have blueprints that have been added to this stage. There's 2 of them, you know, and they're simply can be synchronized as well and looked at, overlay the model over the top of the blueprint to see how well they line up. Okay, let's go, excuse me, let's, if I can get, I need to go to my other screen to get out of, exit this and come back in. Okay, so I will play this quickly. In this video, we will learn about the synchronized module and stages. The synchronized module. This is where we can manipulate the components of stages. On the top right of the menu bar, there is a radio button to turn on or off the stages panel of components. In the panel of stages and components, you click the small arrow next to the stage name to expose the components in that stage. The small eye icon next to the other component types turns the view of that component on and off. The small sphere icon on the left of the 360 components allows you to turn on the sweep sphere icons showing each sweep location of that particular scan. You can see as I turn the various components on and off, they are not currently aligned or synchronized, but are in different locations. As we view through the components, they are different sizes in different positions. So right now you're asking, hey, but Steve, how do we manipulate these components? Glad you asked. We have a toolbox for you in the upper left of the screen. The icons of the 5 tools in the toolbox give us a few choices of ways to manipulate these components. The position tool allows you the ability to relocate the component in the scene. Some component types can simply be turned on and dragged on the scene to manage them. They can be aligned by bringing them together on the canvas. The rotation tool allows you to rotate the component on all axes. The scale tool allows you to resize a component. The distance or measuring tool lets you determine the current scale of components and is convenient in resizing the components to be the same size. For example, let's turn off all components except the 2D floor plan. Click on our distance tool. We see that our tool is currently set to imperial measurements and our plan is in metric. Click the hamburger icon in the upper left corner and select Preferences. In our Preferences panel, select Units. Here, you can switch between imperial and metric units. Let's set our units to metric. Now back to our 2D floor plan. We can choose 2 points on the image, then set the distance in our scene that it should be. Now we can bring our 3D geometry over the top and see that it does align with the blueprint image. We can turn on other objects and move them to align as well. If we want the most accurate alignment, you need to choose the multi-point alignment tool at the bottom of the toolbox. The checkbox to the right side of the Stages panel is checked to indicate that a stage has been synchronized and is available for use as a reference object and also visible in the inspector module. Pro tip,
You can awfully simply use the multi-point alignment tool to align some types of components without the need to resize them. The multi-point alignment tool allows you to align or synchronize multiple components. Check out the alignment tool video tutorial that covers the magic of the multi-point alignment tool in greater detail.
So there's a number of videos out there for your viewing pleasure. Let's go back to the desktop unit, and I'm going to show you in the inspector tool, because there's a few more things that can be done in the inspector tool once we have once we've opened up the desktop unit. So bear with me just a minute while we there we go. Didn't like being behind, so we're going to relaunch it. And the inspector tool has a number of other tools that you can, for instance, on 3D models, as opposed to Matterport, you can brush. There are brush tools. There are, you can take screenshots, and you can add a number of different aspects to it. Again, sorry, we have competing monitors here, which is a bit of a problem in a webinar. Maybe I could share my other screen. I'm able to get it minimized. In the inspector tool, this is the building we were just working with. Let's go to the Matterport scan here. As if you can with the Matterport itself, all the tools for Matterport are available within Stages to, to shift floors, to shift, location, dollhouse, all of those are there as well. So here is an example of an issue and notes that were done in the Matterport model. So again, the main difference with the desktop version of Stages is you do have a brush tool in the 3D models, which you can mark up on walls. You can manage however you want to notate, take screenshots as well, and add those in. And that's the biggest difference between the desktop and currently the biggest difference. As our roadmap evolves, we will be adding those model types and so forth to the web version as well. It's just on our roadmap, we're creating the tools in the quickest way we can based on your feedback, which brings me to, we'd love to have you join us as an alpha tester. You're able to register and freely participate right now through August 1st at least. The alpha testing is open to anyone really. All we ask is for feedback, and you can add as many projects as you want, bring in your Matterport scans and work with those and provide feedback. Again, go to sign up at sim-stages.com, and you'll see the main screen. That's where we are here. sim-stages.com and sign up. It's pretty straightforward, and I think you're going to enjoy using it. It's going to be a really powerful tool. You can travel through your project history as well as just maintain life of your Matterport models for a much longer period of time. So Let's see what kind of questions we have. A few that came in. I think I answered this one, but we'll anyway. Says, can I synchronize a 3D model with other components and stages? So I'm going to go out on a limb and assume you mean like a BIM model, something that was done in Revit or ArchiCAD. And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. You can synchronize that. It just becomes another component type, though it would need to be an IFC file or exported as IFC or an FBX, another one of the file types that we support. What file types are supported? Another question. Again, I went through that, but for clarity, it's a Matterport 360, the Matter Pack, which is the OBJs, FBXs, PDFs, and IFC are all supported. The current web version supports only the Matterport 360 scans, the Matterport Showcase scans. The desktop version you would use for all of the other component types. That being said, again, it's whatever you do in the web version in the Matterport scan in terms of notes or additions and comments in the inspector, or synchronization even, it's all reflected because it's the same data that's used in the desktop. What will the subscription fees be? Right now, we're finalizing the models on those. We're anticipating it's a $45 per unit seat for stages for the professional version. And there will be a viewer version that'll be offered at different pricing. Lastly, what about reseller programs? For now, please reach out to us. And if you're interested in a reseller program, we're happy to talk with you about that. We have a lot of great opportunities for resellers as well. The best way to get a hold of us at this point is info@simlabinc.com. That's info@simlabinc.com. And that's if you have any questions, inquiries, we'll get it to the right person to get in touch with you directly and keep moving forward. So as well, any of the feedback you have during your alpha testing, that's another great way to get it to us is info@simlabinc.com. Or we're testing our own feedback system. It's called Canny. You can go to simlab.canny.io. And again, if you want the actual link to that, I'll be happy to share that with you as well. So looking forward to your questions and your feedback on as an alpha tester. You're now authenticated as an alpha tester, and we look forward to having you participate and enjoy maximizing the use of your scans in stages. Join us again on Tuesday, May 17th, same time, same place. That's next Tuesday, where we're going to have something a little different. Holzer Time is going to present reality capture, documentation beyond paper, and it's sponsored by SIMLAB. So we're bringing in an industry expert that has worked in reality capture to share with us some of the advantages that he sees, and then how we can utilize SIMLAB's products, both stages and SIM-on, with other reality capture types. So until then, Steve Holzer, thanks for joining. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.